Okay, frequency tables and finding the mean. So let's just say I walked around to a few teachers in a school and I asked them, so how many hours do you spend at home marking books? So I speak to a few of them and one of them will say, well, I spend 10 hours a week. Another one say I spend 8 hours. Another one say probably 12, and another one 9 hours. Another one maybe 5 hours. Okay, you can guess just by looking at these numbers that I've only spoken to 5 teachers. So I might say that, okay, what if I wanted to find out the mean or the average number of hours that teachers spent marking? And the old one, probably since primary school, you would have added all your numbers together, which will give you a mean equal to 10 add 8, add 12, add 9, add 5, and then you would have divided all of that by the number of teachers I spoke to. So we would have had 44 divided by 5, which will give us about 8.8 hours. So teachers on average, these 5 teachers, between just these 5 teachers, they spend on average 8.8 hours marking books. Okay, what if I spoke to a lot more teachers? And if I did speak to a lot more teachers, then I would have a table. Let me draw that table up. All right, so here's my table representing my teachers. And you can see that now in a bigger school, I would have had number of hours, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. I can probably have one for more than 6 hours, but let's just say we stop it there. And of all the teachers I spoke to, 10 of them said we only take 1 hour. 13 teachers said we took 2 hours. 12 teachers said we took 3 hours, and so on. Which means that if I was to write this data out like this, I would have 10 ones, so 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 10 times. Then I would have 13 twos, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 13 times, and so on. And if I want to find a mean out, then that would mean quite a lot of work on my part. So, having it in a table means I can now assess a greater number of teachers. I can do quite a lot more with this. But the question is, how do I find a mean when it's in a table like this? Well, the mean would be the sum of fx, let me just call that the mean x bar, is equal to the sum of fx over the sum of f. F is my frequency. This is my f here, the number of teachers. So I've got 10 teachers who did 1 hour, 13 teachers who did 2 hours, and so on. And this means sum. It means I need to add them all up. Another thing that we need to mention is what this fx business is. So these are my x values up here, my number of hours, okay? And fx actually means f times x. So it will be the frequency times the number of hours up there. In essence, what I'm actually doing is working this part out to get that 44, but in this case it's a lot more than 44 this time. So let's find fx and then find the sum of fx. So to find fx then, let me just label this in here as fx, which means f times x. I will multiply 10 times 1, and that gives me 10. I'll multiply 13 times 2, that gives me 26. I will multiply 12 times 3, that gives me 36, and so on. I'm just going to pause the video and fill out the rest. Okay, now my next job to do is to find the sum. The sum means to add up all of these values here for my fx. So I will just do that on the side over here. So my sum of fx is going to be equal to 10 plus 26 plus 36 plus 32 plus 30 plus 6. I need to add them all up, which gives me a grand total of 140. So that's going to be my 140 there. The next thing I'm going to need is the sum of f. And the sum of f, I will get that by adding up the number of teachers that I spoke to. So there were 10 teachers here, 13 teachers there, 12 teachers there, and so on. So I need to add all of my teachers up. And it turns out that I spoke to 50 teachers. So that's my 50 teachers there. Okay. So now to find the mean, I'm now going to draw my attention over here. To find the mean, I can literally now go sum of fx, which is 140, divided by the sum of f, which is 50, which will tell me that the average time that teachers spend marking, well, this bunch of teachers is 2.8 hours. Remember, it's time, so 2.8 hours is fine. If we were dealing with people or something like that, that we can't have 0.8 of a person, then you would have needed to round this up. But because we're dealing with the number of hours teachers spend marking books, 2.8 is just fine. So we can leave it at that. All right. And that's basically how you find a mean from grouped data.